finished an exhilarating and quite nerve-wracking performance for a piano assessment, while the instructor had watched me like a hawk. At the end, I got up, brushed my skirt, and went to shake hands with the instructor. This was pre-COVID, of course. And he congratulated me by saying something along the lines of this: "Good job! Now you can go home and eat a big bowl of curry to reward yourself for your efforts." At first, I was horrified. I must have done a pretty horrible job if he was telling me to go home and just eat a bowl of curry, something that I didn't enjoy very much. But then I looked at him and he was smiling. I realized that he didn't mean what he had said in a harsh way. He genuinely believed that I would go home and eat a big bowl of curry to reward myself on a job well done, when that was far from what I had in mind. I thanked him and left the room wondering how and why he had said what he did. Then later that day, as I was eating a bowl of not curry but ice cream, I realized that he wasn't wrong in what he had said. All he had done was look at me and make an assumption. He didn't know me personally, so he used his past experiences with people who looked similar to me and grouped me in along with them. I had been the subject of a stereotype. No matter what we do, there is no way to prevent ourselves from stereotyping someone else. We stereotype and put things into categories to make thinking and processing the world around us easier. Research shows that one of the main reasons for our stereotyping is because of a psychological phenomenon called illusory correlation. Illusory correlations are essentially when we associate two factors together based on our experiences, even when there is no actual association between the factors. For all the sports fanatics out there, I'm sorry, but wearing your lucky jersey during a game is a great example of this. You might think that wearing the jersey is associated with the victory of your favorite football team because they win a game whenever you wear the jersey and lose when you don't. In reality, it's just an illusory correlation on your part and a coincidence in real life. So how does this phenomenon relate to stereotyping? Oftentimes, we associate all members of a particular group of people with a specific behavior or characteristic because we've had an experience in which maybe a member of that group was associated with that characteristic. So we begin to make illusory correlations by associating all the people of that group with that characteristic based on a previous experience. If we apply this to the popular "men are stronger than women" stereotype, people who think this way might have had a couple of experiences where men have been physically stronger than women. So when they're faced with a man and a woman, their illusory correlation tells them that the man must be stronger because based on their experiences, all men are associated with physical strength, when this is definitely not the case. Unfortunately, our version of stereotyping has led to a lot of false assumptions and conflict. This is apparent now more than ever with the rise of the Black Lives Matter movement and racial profiling, and the rise in social media's association with gender and beauty stereotypes. According to a 2020 study by the Stanford School of Engineering, researchers at Stanford University analyzed 95 million traffic stop records from 2011 to 2018, and they found that African Americans are pulled over more frequently than other groups in the daytime, but are less likely to be stopped at night because a veil of darkness masks their race and makes it harder to racially profile them as drivers. It's almost every day now that we hear cases on the news where predominantly African American suspects are racially profiled because of assumptions made based on their race and the stereotyping of their actions. And unfortunately, these harmful stereotypes cost many people their lives. Additionally, younger generations are especially familiar with the harmful gender and beauty stereotypes that the media enforces. Young women and men are exposed to so many unrealistic stereotypes of how their body should look like, what careers they should pursue, and how they should act. This leads some women to feel self-conscious if they do not have the perfect hourglass body shape or a successful family life, and some men to feel ashamed if they aren't masculine enough or completely in charge all the time. We've developed and passed on such harmful and outdated stereotypes that it's almost like we're the ones building a wall built from false assumptions that is slowly but surely creating barriers between people. And it's also not just the negative stereotypes that cause harm. Positive stereotypes can be just as harmful. For example, I am South Asian, and a positive stereotype specific to Asians is that Asians are generally very intelligent people and very skilled in STEM fields, especially math. That sounds like a compliment, right? Well, contrary to stereotypical belief, not all Asians are extremely intelligent and great at math. Some have different interests and different pathways they want to take in life. So when individuals who are supposed to possess these qualities but don't are faced with these positive stereotypes, it makes them feel alienated and depressed because the positive stereotypes set the bar unrealistically high. They might start to question themselves and their abilities because they're not what the model Asian is supposed to be. For those that the positive stereotype actually does apply to, aka the Asians that are extremely intelligent and great at math, there is an increase in pressure to uphold the stereotype. They might feel pressured to always know an answer to a math problem or always do extremely well on an exam. This pressure can build up and just cause extreme emotional turmoil for a person. They too can feel bound by the stereotype with no way to escape. Personally, I'm not the best at math, but a lot of my Asian peers are, and sometimes I do feel self-conscious. It's kind of like when you're running a race, but you feel like you're behind everyone by such a large distance. It wasn't that I was jealous of my peers for having better mathematical skills, but I wondered why I didn't have the same skill set if I looked similar to them. I doubted my abilities as a person because I didn't understand why I couldn't be as smart as my Asian peers. For me, being good at math all the time was a way for me to prove myself and keep up the image I was supposed to portray. This can be really damaging to one's self-confidence, as it was for me, and no one should ever have to doubt themselves because of a generalization like this. But wait, if stereotyping can be so harmful, then why don't we just stop doing it altogether? Unfortunately, it's impossible for us as humans to not judge and categorize people based on our prior knowledge. It's just how our brains work. So, what if we tried to become more open-minded and change the categories themselves to make them less demeaning and more informative and supportive of cross-cultural understanding? Because these categories are created off of false assumptions, from illusory correlations, and a lack of knowledge, becoming more open-minded and aware of the different types of people around us can help to provide more credible information for us to base our stereotypes off of. You can think of them as educated stereotypes. Remember, the key here is being more open-minded. False assumptions create barriers and conflict, and false assumptions are made by a lack of adequate knowledge. We might not be able to keep ourselves from judging others, but at least we can be more open-minded when we do so. What is being more open-minded? When we are more open-minded, we consider all the factors that can affect a situation by considering a situation through different lenses, like a glasses lens. These lenses would be based on the factors such as observable personality traits like openness, different cultures, and even personal backgrounds. Instead of the smart Asian stereotype, we can think of them based on their cultural values. For example, Indian Americans such as myself are known to give importance to the quality of parenthood and being a good parent, while Vietnamese Americans place a large value on career success. Instead of the ever popular most Mexican Americans are illegal immigrants stereotype, we can take a look into their cultural histories, like which country they immigrated from, considering they're actually an immigrant, and the values that country enforces. Instead of girls are bad at math, we can take into consideration a girl's family background, how educated are her parents, what type of environment does she live in? Is she genuinely interested and passionate about math? It's more logical to conclude that a girl who prefers a different area of study over math and who doesn't feel that same interest towards math maybe has a lower educational capability in the subject of math when compared to someone else who is more passionate about the subject. For those of you who find this way of thinking quite familiar, congratulations, you're already changing the way you stereotype. By changing the way we stereotype, we are opening up our minds to look beyond the social categories society has created for us and are becoming less judgmental people. In a more figurative sense, think of our society as being inside a big box of stereotypes. In that box are the so-called alpha males, smart Asians, not so smart blonde people, and all the other stereotypes we have created in the world. By continuing to enforce these stereotypes, we are adding more support to our wall of false assumptions located inside the box, and are lengthening the barriers these stereotypes have already created between people. We've all been pushing ourselves inside this box full of endless walls with invisible barriers and have been trying to break out for years. Some of us have been successful, and therefore, when we break out of the box, we shoot out like a rocket at blast off. Initially, we're all just underdeveloped rockets without a substantial amount of fuel, blocked by several walls in a massive box. Once we are supplied with enough fuel in the form of an open-minded mindset, we are ready to begin our grand journey into the depths of outer space. Those who successfully change the way they stereotype transform into dazzling rockets with a goal to explore the unknown and make changes for the better. They are powerful and strong beings whom we can't help but admire as we watch them shoot out of the box and into the sky of endless opportunities. These rockets aren't confined to the stereotypes that are present in the societal box. They have many characteristics and are keen to share them with the world. If we change the way we stereotype and maybe take a different and more open-minded path, we might just find ourselves outside of the box, shooting across the skies with the rockets, a place that's more open-minded, understanding, and accepting of the people and world around us. Thank you.